One of the things that I wanted to say this evening is that I have been privileged to have the opportunity to see poverty in so many different ways. As a child, I lived in poverty and didn't even know that I was in poverty because everybody around me was in about the same condition as my family was. But, you know, as I think about, I was working at Head Start is where one of the places that I got my start, where Miss Bailey was at, and I started out as a family service worker there. I was working with the children in the classroom, and then when that opening came up, I felt like if I could get into the home of the children, that if I had a chance to work with the parents, then maybe I could make life easier for the kids during that weekend, because we would see them eat all week, and then we would see them when they went home for the weekend. When they came back on Mondays, it was like they were starved, like they had went those couple of days without the opportunity to eat. So that touched a place in my heart. I was in school at the time, and I was thinking about education, and I switched my major to social work. And I went on to get my master's in social work. And when the opportunity came up, I worked at DHHR, not directly in there, but I worked as a provider that went into the homes, that taught parenting, adult life skills, that child-oriented activities, and worked with the children. And you know, when you go into the homes and you see where the children are allowed to just go in the cabinet and grab the sweet cereal or grab whatever is in their reach for them to have to feed themselves, you know, not really getting nutritious meals. You get to see that firsthand. You know, a lot of times we can talk about poverty and we can make plans for poverty, but if we haven't been involved in it, if we haven't seen it, if we haven't just got right there with it face to face, it's hard to really understand what it's like. In the past year or so, I had opened Unity Hall Community Center and also a daycare there. Unity Hall is a nonprofit organization, and one of the things that we do is that we reach out to at-risk children between the ages of 15 and 21, and we do that through using technology, because technology is becoming so important now. We have a computer lab there that we have about 15 to 20 computers that are available for the community to come in, whether the parents need to come in and re-sign up for programs at DHHR, to re-sign up for, my lights on already? For, give me just a second. For their food stamps or whatever. We're available and we're open for that. And I sent Senator Green a couple of letters because we're having trouble with the daycare right now. We have some problems, but we're, you know, in the last stages of going through and fighting that, and we're going to fight it until the end, because we know that we make a difference. The center is located in the midst of 3 low-income apartments that allowed parents to be able to drop their kids off there and go to work. They didn't have to worry about the extra transportation. And also, there's no one that provides for the low-income parents that work at like Cheddar's and Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A and those places that stay open late in the evening. And those people don't have a choice to say, I need to work a morning shift because there's nobody to watch my children. It's a case where if they have to work in the evening, then they have to leave their children with whoever they have to leave them with. I had one lady that's not even gone back to work yet because she was so happy to have someone that was in the evening. Her middle child suffers from shaken baby syndrome because it was being kept in the home of a provider, and she feels like if that hadn't happened, if she'd had a place to take them where there was other children, then this wouldn't have happened to her children. But a lot of them have quit work, and they're back in the system because they can't find care that time of day. So I would like for you all to come by, take a look at Unity Hall, see what we have to offer. I'd like for you to be there sometimes like Wendy has and other people have, when the parents have told us that their children cried to come back just so they could eat. And we go by the child and adult food program. So we serve healthy meals, but they have an opportunity to sit down, family style, enjoy a good meal, and then at the same time we're able to impart something in them that makes them want to make a difference in their life. Thank you.
My name is Kourtney McDowell. I'm from this community. I was raised in this community. Been in West Virginia all my life. Went to that local high school. Actually, Mr. Baker, he helped me out. Mr. Sheridan, he helped me out as well. Actually, Mr. Sheridan called me. He called me because he helped me out. He knew a few things about me. He knew that I was a working man. I have 2 children. I have a wife that I have problems. That's another story though. But we still work together. We parent well. Anyhow. I walked for 7 years back and forth to Sam's Club to provide for my family. No transportation. It didn't seem like it was a big deal to me though, even though I did see everybody else moving around, driving in vehicles, going back and forth. Well, my mother told me a long time ago about my forefathers and her father and how he walked 16 to 20 miles back and forth to work to provide for them. So I didn't look at myself any different than where I came from. So I never complained about anything. Well, things happen. I end up losing my job. I tried to go into the workforce to get some type of job, and went to the workforce people, the unemployment folks. They taught me into educating myself since there wasn't any jobs available at the time. So I go to school at the local vocational school. I get a certificate in electrician. I finished pretty high in my class. My expectations was well. I had goals, plans. I had a friend of mine who worked at Goodyear in Alabama, in Gaston, Alabama, a little small town. It's gonna pay me $27 an hour. Well, that was gonna happen for me in October, so I had to be a little patient. I graduated in May. Well, let's go back to April, while I was still going through school. I was invited out by a couple classmates. We went to a bar. It was a situation happened at the bar. I took a girlfriend out with me. As we were leaving, I was talking to the girlfriend. It was a situation happened inside the bar. That's why we decided to leave. As we was leaving, the police came in. As they were leaving, I had made a comment to the girl I was with. It had one curse word in it, but it was a word that I would say donkey. I'm pretty sure y'all know what I mean. Okay, and the officer turns around, he looks at me, and he tells me, now I'm in a community of poverty. He looks at me and he tells me that I can't curse. Well, I turned around and looked at him and said, sir, I wasn't loud and it wasn't directed towards you. And before I could say it wasn't intended for you, he takes it upon himself he called that obstructing. He therefore tased me. I fell 6 feet, bumping my head. I had a concussion. I have family members that are police officers. So I talked to them about the things that happened to me. Well, they didn't do everything right. They had supposed to got medical people to take the prongs out of me, and I bumped my head. I didn't even know how to concussion. I didn't even know who I was at the time. They just threw me, locked me up. Well, I had a number of people to come to me at my court date with me. When they did, they seen that, they dismissed it. So 2 or 3 months later, the same friend I was with had locked the keys outside the house. So we sitting out there 3 or 4 hours waiting for her son to come to bring the keys. So I had to relieve myself. So it was an alley over there, so I goes in the alley and another cop came up to me. Now I can't go to the story of this because this is still pending. But he comes to me and all of a sudden, in the mix of that, I have a finger right here that is disformed. I can't grab anything. I can't pick anything up. Both of my fingers, joints, I can't grab and make a fist. I can't make a fist on this one. I have injuries right here. I can't keep my arm up. I have 2 children I have to provide for. I can't get any help as far as medical because I don't have any type of insurance. These are things that were done to me by the folks that's supposed to serve and protect me. I, for one, am not scared of any man, but I am scared of somebody who has the authority that I can't stand up to. I can't speak, I can't say nothing. Obstructing I didn't think obstructing was to say, well, sir, I didn't do that. That's obstructing to most of these cops. So my thing to you all is that if you have these type of folks and y'all hire them to come and serve and protect our community, yes, I know there's drug dealers there. I live there. Yes, I know there are bad people there. I live there. But there's drug dealers and bad people throughout this whole city, not just in my community. And so when they come into the community, our community, they come in with a little chip on their shoulder at the door. And they look at all of us as drug dealers. They look at all of us as bad people. But I have plenty of folks that tell you something about me. I've never sold drugs before in my life. I wasn't raised like that. So I, for one, I'm not sure what's the solution for this, but maybe picking these folks better, background checks, maybe screening them a little bit better, because the things that we have to go through in my community every day is every day. Every day, the stress of waking up, not knowing what's going to happen to me next. I'm homeless right now due to the fact that I don't have employment. I still have 2 children that do exceptionally well that goes to Liberty High School. My daughter is going to graduate. It's number 9 in her class. Now, Liberty is one of the better schools around here. This is what we're raising. This is what we're trying to do. But they don't know me. They just look at me and profile me. And then they react. My son sees me. I come home, I fractured 2 teeth. I had cuts over my lips. My children looks at me. And they know that the police are supposed to do the right thing, but they know their daddy too. And they know their daddy is limited. Their daddy only gonna do but so much. They know that wasn't me. So now they're looking at the cops like, I don't know, are they good people or are they bad people? Well, I tell them, this is what I tell my children. I say, they're all not bad. So there's good police, but in everything, there's incompetent people. And it's up to us as a people to take a stand so we can make sure that they don't do anything to our youth. And that's why we're here today. And I want to take a stand today and say, let's do a better job of putting these people in positions so they won't beat and hurt our youth. The same cop that did this to me 3 months ago, my 15-year-old nephew was leaving a party and he threw him down on the ground and brutally took him to jail. Now, I'm not sure everything that happened in that situation, so I can't say whether it was right or wrong. But he said the cop was very aggressive with him. And I already knew he was because he didn't take the time out to see who I was. He just went off, and like I said, I can't go into details. But please, remember the folks in the community. And when you make these laws and when you pick these people, let's just do a better job of putting people in place so that we can have a safer community. We won't have to be scared of the folks that's here to serve and protect. Thank you.
One reason school-based health centers were started was because it was found that as children reach adolescence, they tend to neglect their health care. So we brought the health care to them by offering small clinics and doctor's offices in the schools. This sort of got me thinking. I was able to attend the meeting in Fayette County. Is I think when we think about children in poverty, very often we think about babies and toddlers and small children. But I just urge the committee to consider teenagers and adolescents and keep those youth in your mind as well as you do your work. In addition to remembering teens in poverty, I think it's important because in addition to being hungry, not having health care, very often teens will go to middle schools and high schools in this very county and the counties that you're from and be bullied. I know bullying is a hot topic right now, but very often teens will be bullied in their schools just because they're not wearing the right brand names of clothing. Senator Unger mentioned the ACE study, and I think that's great that you all are aware of that study because it tells us some very profound things. What was also found in that study is that children that grow up in adversity often suffer with serious health care issues as adults. Accessible health care is important for children facing adversity to break these cycles. The last thing I wanted to say was that as we seek to find solutions, I do want to offer a simple one. I won't be able to say it as eloquently as Ms. Gleesman did as she spoke to your heart, but I want to speak to your minds as well. What we want for youth that suffer through any adversity, whether it's poverty, bullying, abuse, is that they're able to bounce back. Search Institute has done some wonderful studies, and they have found that there's 40 main things that kids, that if they have these things, 40 simple things in their lives, that the likelihood that they will thrive, resist bad behavior, and be able to bounce back when bad things happen to them are great. They'll be able to do that more easily. One of those things is exactly what Ms. Gleesman said, is to be that supportive person and a supportive adult in the life of a child. So I'll just urge you, as she did, to take that one simple step if nothing else can be done. Thank you.
I'm Carolyn Buzbee, and I teach at Independence Middle School in Coal City, and I'm from this community right around here. I just wanted to speak about our after-school program. We were awarded the Innovation Zone and Dropout Prevention Grant, and it's been wonderful. We have that for this year and the next 2 years, so we won't see the progress from that until the next 2 years. But continue with that kind of funding. We also need more of those type of dropout prevention programs and expanding the truancy programs like we've already heard a lot of people speak about. My students don't want to talk about poverty in the middle school. I try to kind of nonchalantly broach the topic about, do you know anybody that lives in poverty? And, I teach art, and so it's just kind of, we have discussions in our class, and no, I don't know anybody. We're all good, because they don't talk about it. But I know at the end of school, they're like, can I have one of those granola bars? To take home with them. So, I mean, it's there, just like everyone else has talked about. So, also, we talked earlier about, not here, but earlier meetings about more after-school programs, maybe funding for transportation so that every kid has a chance, not just for like band or sports, but maybe the art club or the drama club in all the schools. So, that's all. Thank you.
My name is Wayne Williams. I'm a Raleigh County businessman for almost 20 years now, and I would like to thank Mr. Tanner and Commission on Aging, our senators, for putting on such a noble and worthy cause, our children. It is true that many of our children go hungry and cold throughout the state. The cause, lack of jobs, education, but now we have the pill epidemic. With a quick Google on the internet, pill capital of America, and you'll find a small remote town in southern West Virginia. Many parents struggle daily with highly addictive painkillers and narcotics. We keep sending our citizens to prison by the thousands, while drug scripts are being filled by the thousands, and pharmacies are being built at record numbers on almost every corner. Would drug testing help? Maybe, but this could cost millions, and it's a common knowledge that a lot of our workforce cannot pass a drug screening anyway. Until we decide to stop the madness, introduce legislation to curtail our real problem, the drug epidemic, our crime will continue to increase. Children will suffer because of these medications' potential for addiction and abuse. These medications need to be reclassified as a Class 2 drug for what they are. Someone is writing these prescriptions to put these things out into our communities. The multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies are booming. I say, if any perks, trips, vacations, or so-called continuing education seminars are being given out by first, second, or third-party affiliates, it must stop. Most businesses and educators must do continuing education online, and usually at their own expense. We must take, I believe, 3 steps to turn around this madness. We must create jobs, and as an employer myself, I do drug testing. I am mandated by DOT to drug test my truck drivers. So the employers will do the drug screenings if we create the jobs. We need to take serious measures to slow down the availability of these powerful drugs. And number 3, with teachers' help, we may be able to recognize and identify the children that are struggling with this poverty. These children, they just need the basics to survive and learn. Food, shelter, and a stable home environment. We must come together as parents and community to pull our children in and take them under our wings to make them be successful. I myself, money for these children, I've sent a multi-million-dollar idea to Charleston. This revenue would not come from taxes, but permits to ride OHVs or ATVs, et cetera, on trails in the National Forest, state and federal lands that have the size to do it. These OHVs will run on Jeep trails and trails that are already established. They can't just take off out through the woods, destroying our woodlands. Several other states in our union use this, and probably at least 35 states are doing this now. We could enjoy, our hunting industry, fishing, recreational activities. People can come enjoy our beautiful state. The revenue windfall from other business springing up could create jobs and more jobs and more jobs. And this is just one idea I came up with as a businessman. But I just feel, our people need hope. Our people need dreams. Our people need jobs. And we cannot blame this on our president. It's a lack of our own vision here in the state of West Virginia. Thank you.
My name is Crystal Foster Jones. I work with Res Care Beckley Agency. I am a service coordinator, therapeutic consultant, and behavior support professional. And I'm here to represent the kids they're on my caseload. And not only that, I grew up in poverty. My brother is bipolar, has a diagnosis of mental retardation. And I remember growing up, standing in the line waiting for commodity cheese and peanut butter. And I see the struggle, the same struggle today, 30 years later, when helping my families. There's a lack of education, lack of resources. Lack of therapists. We have, outside of the school system, one speech therapist in this county, and it's a 2-year waiting list for a child to get in to see her. As my mom kept fighting and fighting and fighting for what my brother needed, at some point she lost that fight because she didn't have the help. I am there to help, but there's only so far that I can go by myself. My husband is a police officer for the city of Beckley. We both try our best to help the community. If you looked at our tax return, our family of 6 would qualify for poverty now. But I have been educated. I had a strong family background that helped me fight through that so that I could help other people today. And I encourage you, just like everyone said, it takes a village. It's not one person alone. There's only so many hours in a day that I can work, that I can go to DHHR, that I can go to churches, that I can go to community members, to restaurants, to stores, to find clothing, shelter for these families. And one of the biggest things I see, they're living in poverty now with a disability, and I see it now that they're adults and they don't have that family support. I had one lady, she paid her bills in the first 2 weeks of her month, and her checking account was 37 cents. 37 cents and $89 in food stamps to get to the rest of the month. It's a vicious cycle, and we have to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming here tonight. I'm Virginia Butcher. Other than being an avid volunteer and a local business owner, I guess you could say I've got a lot of experience with kids, 25 years in fact, 3 boys. And they are very vivacious, they are very wonderful, but they are not perfect. I come from a family that is only 1 generation away from poverty. My father was raised at the Milton Hershey School for Boys. Milton Hershey's mantra, because he and his wife could not have children, there's an indelible trust in Hershey's chocolate that pays for that school to this day that takes both boys and girls, is that a busy boy is a good boy. We need to keep our kids busy. One of the things my father did every single day when we were growing up, and I would like everybody who's a parent in this room to please raise your hand right now, please. The best thing you can do for them is to take them and volunteer with them. Take them with you when you volunteer. My daddy volunteered for the Lions Club tirelessly. On the holidays, he would literally walk us into their homes with those baskets. It's why I do everything I do for the organizations I have done here, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. But it changes your thinking, it changes your children's thinking about who's sitting next to them in class. You want to stop bullying? Put your kids in those shoes. And if they're handing somebody food, if they're handing somebody clothes, please take your children and volunteer. I don't care if they're a bad attitude teenager. Make them go. Make them go. Thank you.